Hello and welcome to Little Nightmares 2 Demo Speedrun. To start this off, we're gonna watch a 40 seconds cutscene, which unfortunately is not skippable like in the first game, where we could just restart the checkpoint and go on our merry way. But it's a good time to explain the stamina. First game had it, this one does not. Jumping though is still faster, but you can only jump twice in a row. On your third jump's landing, Mona would wobble for a bit, preventing you from jumping again. So you'll see me jump twice, wait a little bit, then jump again. It saves 2 seconds for every 20 seconds in comparison to just running. Here at the start, if you spam jump right, Mona will move a bit as he spawns. So here we go. With perfect jumps, it all lines up quite nicely to have a jump exactly before the pit and to reach the cage. As you can see, my jumps are not quite perfect, but that's how triple jump stumble looks like. In the tunnel, the geometry will allow us to make a jump, which we can turn into a slide and get a bit further. It's very easy to get stuck on the right side, so make sure you're in the middle when exiting the tunnel. In the first game it was very easy to fall off things, so in this one they added sort of a guiding mechanic where you stick to the narrow surfaces and you also move slowly. You can still jump, but it's also slow, so it's a bad idea to go on the tree. Instead, it's possible to jump from the very edge of the rock and land without getting full recovery animation. I'm not entirely sure if it's just not high enough for it, or it might be that landing has a weird geometry that cancels it. For the box, if you grab it by the side instead of just pushing it, it's much easier and faster to get it down. We only need to move it ever so slightly to be able to make the jump. And there is actually a way to skip this, but it's crazy difficult and moving the box doesn't take a lot of time anyway. You'll see a similar skip that is a bit easier soon. More jumping. It's important not to jump 3 times here, because you might actually get hit by the tree. But now we're gonna skip going up the trunk by just jumping on it. Quite an obvious skip, not super easy, but not that difficult either. Need to be a bit careful with the second jump though, as Mona will not climb that cliff if you fail. For the crank, there exists a sweet spot where you can jump both times without getting climb animations, but it's very difficult to get, so one climb animation is fine. Here, as you start falling, just pull a stick back for a moment and we'll land on the box. Don't jump from it, just walk off. And here's a similar place to where we had to move the box, but here we need to throw a shoe to trigger the trap. Instead, I'm just going to make a very precise jump and grab the cliff. Jump needs to be done from a specific point on the rock and you need to turn Mona towards the cliff, otherwise he's not going to grab it. It's actually the most difficult skip in the demo. Now for the bear trap section. We'll have to trigger the first one, blocking the tree, because it's also invis vault until you do, but for the rest, as long as you know where to go, you can just ignore them. Jump twice after entering the tree, and this is the place where you need to use the stick and later throw a cone to trigger the bear traps. But the game doesn't care if you actually do it, and it's pretty easy to avoid them if you know where they are. Because of the stick to narrow surfaces mechanic, it's a bit better to run near the tree, but it pushes you to get on it if you're too close, so whatever. And now we'll be jumping for quite a while. I'm gonna use this box instead of the stairs, and we're inside the hunter's house. First, we need to free 6, the character from the first game. Grab the axe, and I'm gonna start using it on the 4th floor board from the door, and since you can move during the swing animation for free, Mona will be as close to the door as possible once we are done. And another unskippable cutscene. Jumping from the piece of wood here usually skips Mona trying to climb the first step, so hopefully it's gonna be fixed in the release version, but in the demo AI has some issues. Sometimes 6 gets stuck on this corner for no apparent reason, but that's not as bad as when she refuses to make the jump at the box in a few minutes. After the short cutscene, 6 will help us get to the switch, but before it, we have a short moment to position Mona as close to the place we'll need to be as possible. You can actually jump on that window and unfortunately it has collision, you cannot get out. Here we'll need to be very quick. For the suitcase we don't actually need to move it at all, as long as we jump from the very end, and 6 will do the jump just fine as well. While we wait for her, I'm going to open the drawer, but it seems that if you do it too slow, 6 will walk to you instead of running here. I think it depends on how far away from her you are. And as you can see, I messed it all up. I don't even know how the time ended up being so good. Now we're going to borrow this crank, and actually you could open the drawer while 6 puts it in if you release the grab button as you fall and skip the fall animation, but it's a bit too close and it's better to open it at the beginning. Releasing the key earlier makes it fall faster, and if you manage to make it fall on the Mona's head, it might sometimes get stuck in the air, make it easier and faster to pick up. Also, I just randomly did it on this run, but I think if you pick up the crank and put it yourself, instead of allowing 6 to do it, it seems to be faster. This jump on the drawer is a bit difficult, but I don't think it matters much if you lose a bit of time here, since we'll need to wait for 6 anyway. Unless of course you me and waste 5 seconds. Like that. It's also possible to throw 6 off the stairs, but it's not faster. It's quite funny though. We used to restart the checkpoint to spawn 6 at the box, but it appears that just waiting for her is better, due to most checkpoints having a forced wake up animation. And this is the box where I don't know exactly, maybe 35% of the time 6 won't make the jump. I think it works fine if you push it all the way as intended, but it's kinda slow and we only need it moved a tiny bit. You could get a checkpoint and spawn her inside, but that would lose 5 seconds, I think? Maybe more. Here I'll grab her hand because it's going to be faster than allowing her to walk on her own. And you could also release crouch trigger tiny bit to make it go faster. We're gonna push the small door and restart the checkpoint, which will allow us to skip hiding behind the first box. Again, hopefully something is going to be fixed, but the menu is very wonky in the demo. I have to use a D-pad for it, and even then it's not particularly responsive. We have to wait for the hunter to get outside before the game will allow us to restart, but for this specific checkpoint, there's not going to be a wake up animation. Also, I have to spam the run button, because if you press it before the game is fully loaded, Mona won't be running at the start. Now we can just go for the second box instead, and it's important not to jump second time here, otherwise you're gonna get shot even if you're running behind the box. After hunter misses, we can start jumping again to get to the checkpoint as fast as we can and restart it to instantly progress the sequence further. There's another checkpoint a bit further that would skip even more, but across the entire screen there is a trigger that shoots you regardless of where the hunter is or what he is doing. As soon as hunter model jumps a bit, we can go, and I'm going to do 3 jumps into a slide just as hunter notices us. As soon as 6 gets on the screen, and even a bit earlier, we can start running again and jump into the hole where the demo ends. The actual game is gonna have more gameplay for this chapter, but this is it for now. If you like the game, it's gonna come out February 11th, and if you haven't already, you could check out the first one. It's probably on sale right now, and it's a cool game and a great speedrun. Thanks for watching.